Hello everybody. Today I am sitting down with Mikail Abdul Malik. He was wrongly convicted and sentenced to 15 years in prison. Today he is a serial entrepreneur. We are here to find out how he was able to transform his life into the man he is today. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hi, I am Imoitinia. Welcome to the series On the Bench. On this show, I'll be bringing to you stories from around the world of ordinary people who, despite the challenges, choose to live extraordinary lives, all of which will be told on the bench.
Meet Mikail Abdul Malik, a father, an entrepreneur, and a great cook. Before he became the man with many hats, Mikail's life as a young boy was tumultuous. At just 9 years old, he had his first run-in with the law. He was arrested and sent to prison.
Being the fact that it was a theft, I stole from the supermarket, but I honestly did it because I was genuinely hungry. At the time I was staying with my dad and my stepmom, and we really didn't have any food. And what happened was that they were really trying to scare me. So when they took me to Western District, when I didn't
First off, what did you steal?
I stole some steaks.
Okay.
I stole steaks. I stole a family pack of steaks. And it genuinely was just to feed the family. And what happened was that I got caught and the security held me, and usually, they take the pictures and let you go. The police had came and they had took me down to district, I guess, for me, to teach me a lesson because I was so young. But what actually happened is that when they were calling, nobody came to get me. So by being a Friday, I actually had to go out to Waxter's, which was a juvenile facility out, I think it's like Lowell, Maryland, or like Bowie, Maryland, or whatever. Went out there, and I was held into that Monday when I had the little, court proceeding, and they wound up letting me go. But it was very scary weekend.
Mikail was born in Baltimore, Maryland, to a Christian mother and a Muslim father. As a child, he lived with his mother in Baltimore County, but was sent to Baltimore City to stay with his father after he started getting in trouble.
My father was in the streets.
Okay.
I love my father to death. My father's, he was, he's a great man, but he was a trouble man, and he was in the streets. And at the time, he was, using drugs, and he was ripping and running. And then, my stepmother, she had stuff going on with her children and things like that, and work and stuff like that. So it was like really nobody,
Right.
to come get me.
Even at just 9 years old, Mikail was eager to make money to escape poverty.
Growing up in Baltimore City, growing up in West Baltimore, everything is about money, and it's a very poverty-stricken neighborhood, and I always told myself that I wasn't going to be here. I told myself, one way or another, I'm going to leave. I'm going, not generally Baltimore, because back then my sights wasn't really set on anything else but just getting out the hood. It wasn't I wasn't really thinking about another state. I was just thinking about, living good in the county and having money and having nice things, big house and backyard, a single family home, and not.
At 9?
Yeah, I used to think about stuff like that because I didn't want I don't want nobody living here. You growing up in the projects, you got somebody, you got people to the right of you, people to the left of you, people over top of you,
just want to
people
be
underneath
out
of
of that.
you, and it's almost. Freedom is freedom, but it was almost literally like being in a prison. Of course, I didn't know that until I experienced prison, but living in the projects, it's like living in a prison.
At age 13, Mikail began wiping the windshields of cars stopped at a traffic lights in exchange for a few dollars.
One sunny afternoon, the ambitious team met a customer who was a dope seller. The dangerous man was Mikail's introduction to the drug business.
He had took me to one of his stash houses. And when I went in, and this might sound crazy at the time, being young, but I was excited. I seen the money and the drugs and stuff like that, and I'm just like, wow, And we went in there, and he gave me a pack. This is what we call it in Baltimore. He gave me some product, and he told me exactly what I had to do. It was like a 90-10 split. When you think about it, I was doing all this hard work. For every $90 I made, I had to give him, for every $100 I made, I had to give him 90, and I would get 10. at first. That's how it started.
For every $90 you made.
For every $100 I made, I had to give him 90, and I only kept
$10.
Yep.
When Mikail's mother found out her son was a drug dealer, she brought him back to the county. But by then, Mikail says, it was too late.
What happened was I met some guys in the county through a mutual friend, and they was doing robberies. Okay. And so the guy, so at the time I'm like 15, at the time I'm 14.
Right.
So this guy's like 18, because he was like 4 or 5 years older than me. He's about 18, 19. So they explaining it to me and telling me how easy it is and how much money they getting, you know what I'm saying? So me working all day to make $1,000 and they making $1,000
by robbing someone.
Yeah, in 5 or 10 minutes.
Right.
So they letting the people do all the work, right? Because it's like we wasn't robbing, regular people. We was robbing hustlers.
Right. So you were robbing the drug dealers,
Yes.
the people who sold the drugs
Yeah.
and have the money already.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like, they work all day and we just come collect it. That's
Right.
how we was moving. And we
Right.
did it a couple times, and then it worked. And then I seen it and I was like, man, so I got a taste of it.
His success was short-lived. Mikail and his crew were arrested after the man they robbed reported the incident to the police. But that was just the beginning.
We seen this guy, it was him and a girl. I knew he had money because of what he had on. He had a Pelly Pelt leather jacket on, he had jewelry, his haircut, I could just tell that, he had money. So anyway, we robbed him. But he wound up flagging down the police.
Right.
And we didn't know, so that we seen the police, but we was far, but we on foot, and it's, 3 of us, we had to split up. So long story short, we wound up getting caught. So I had went back to juvenile for armed robbery. But what I didn't know is that the weapon that I had was the main source of evidence for a homicide in Baltimore County.
The same weapon?
Yeah.
Yes, that is correct. On January 13, 1997, Mikail Abdul Malik was convicted and sentenced to life in prison.
I was very angry. You got to think at the time, I was maybe 16,
Angry at
17 years old.
Whom were you angry at?
I was angry at the people, man. I was angry at the people who I was committing the crimes with. I was angry at them.
So the guys, right?
Yeah, I was angry at them. I was angry at myself. I was angry at the judge. I was angry at my initial lawyer. I was just angry at life, and I couldn't understand it. But I was mainly angry at myself.
While in prison, Mikail's heart began to change after listening to the story of Yusuf from the Quran.
What about that story changed your outlook on life?
And it's about to make. I'm trying not to tear up because I'm getting emotional about it for real because it's just crazy. So I had him being an innocent man and being in prison, right? The fact that they were going to release him, but he stayed anyway because he didn't want to go through the temptation, was mind-boggling to me. That this man would want to be in prison. His faith is so strong that he's going to stay in prison, right, to fight the temptations of the world.
Of sleeping with someone else's wife, sleeping with
right?
the world.
Yeah,
right,
So it's like that was so deep to me that he chose prison over freedom just so he wouldn't commit a sin. That was so deep to me, man. It touched me so much that it helped me understand what I was going through. And I was like, okay. And then I had to tell myself, I was like, you know what? Okay, you didn't do this. But what have you done? How many lives have you ruined? How many people have you probably caused traumatic stress to for putting guns in their face or taking something from them that they worked hard for, even though it was illegal? You hurt people. You're not an angel. You still did things wrong.
Right.
You reap what you sow. These are the repercussions of your actions.
Right.
And it started helping me be able to deal with the situation that I was in.
So basically you were honest with yourself.
Yeah, I had to
and
be.
that honesty helped you to begin to figure out how to get yourself
Because I was
out
mad
of jail.
for a long time.
Right, I'm pretty sure.
I was mad for a long time. I was doing stupid stuff, and it was just like I thought I was going to die in prison. I had very reckless behavior and things like that, and then I had to find a sense of peace.
With financial support from family, Mikail hired a lawyer. His case was presented to a panel of judges who overturned it. On November 24th, 2012, at age 30, Mikail Abdul Malik walked out of prison a free man. From the streets to life behind bars, today the father of three is building his wealth, one business at a time.
When I came out of prison, I started working at 7-Eleven. The 7-Eleven I was working for was some of my Muslim brothers. Like I got this job through the mosque. And this guy was from Yemen, and he owned all these different 7-Elevens around Baltimore City. And I sat and I shadowed him. I didn't only work for him. I wound up becoming his friend. He wound up, looking at me like a little brother or a son. And he showed me about entrepreneurship, about owning.
Right.
Don't be a consumer. You want to own something.
Right.
And that motivated me. And I worked for him. I worked for him in all his locations.
Right.
He wound up, giving me a raise, and he wound up helping me transform into doing my own thing. And then when me and one of his sons, we did a partnership, and we did a convenience store in the same area. And he was okay with letting me go because, I was doing my own thing.
Right.
And that was, so I started from there, started doing the convenience store. That was successful, but we wound up shutting it down. And I moved everything that I went from doing the convenience store to having a partnership in a cell phone store, a major cell phone store, Metro PCS. It was a franchise.
Remember that? Right.
Right. I did that. Nightclubs, after hours.
So that hustling spirit.
Yeah.
Right.
I just kept doing it. I kept partnering myself and positioning myself with the right people.
Right.
Right. To not work for anybody else again, because I told myself I'm never doing that.
Right.
I said I'm never working for anybody again. I'm going to do it on my own. And then one of my latest and major accomplishments was Mount Vernon Steaks and Shakes that I had partnered up with a buddy of mine that I was incarcerated with, and we moved forward on something that was so great and major that it changed my whole persona to being from an entrepreneur to being a chef.
Right.
So now it's like I'm not worrying about the hustles, and I'm not trying to, what's the next hustle, what's the next business move. I'm so centered on cooking food because this is one thing that I'm great at, and it's one thing that I'm known for in the city.
Wow.
And
that's
it's
what
putting
you
food
do
on the
today.
table. That's what I do today. And we had and before COVID, and we were doing very good. We were doing very good before COVID. Many people coming to see us. Many people coming to get the food, the best cheesesteaks in the city. For as interviews with Afro Paper. All the reviews were great online and on Yelp. Torrey Smith from the Ravens, he came through.
So everybody,
they were showing us a lot of love.
Right. And then when COVID happened, it shut.
Yeah, when COVID happened, it kind of like shut the business down.
So how did you revamp yourself? How did you figure out what's the next step from that? Because a lot of people can go through that and just kind of give up.
Yeah, so what happened was I walked away. So my partner, he had another business already that was up and running, and I was only doing this. And then I was doing the food, and then I had a couple contracts with nightclubs around the city with my food. I was putting my food into different nightclubs via chefs that I had working underneath of me, because I had other people working underneath of me, and I was putting them in positions to work in these nightclubs, and that was my money generating. And so all that was gone because it's COVID.
Right.
Nobody's going to clubs, and nobody was coming out to eat the food, even though they were still doing DoorDash.
Right.
So when I walked away from that, I was like, I'm not going to stop. So what happened was that it was another company of some local guys that I know in Baltimore that started doing the ghost restaurants.
Okay.
So the ghost, so everybody always said it. So going to the ghost restaurants, so these are established kitchens and restaurants that lets you produce, when you're licensed, lets you produce your business through them, through DoorDash, Uber Eats, and let you use their commercial
So you're
kitchen.
using your kitchen to cook your stuff without even having to pay
No
any
overhead.
and stuff like that.
No overhead. And I'm telling you, I did well, I'm not gonna say the exact number, but 6 months of me walking away from Mount Vernon Steaks and Shakes, and then cooking out the commercial kitchen via social media, and then my website and stuff like that. I grossed double what I grossed the year before. So in 6 months, I made double what I made in that year before.
It's incredible.
According to a report from Yup.com, 60% of business closures due to the coronavirus pandemic are now permanent. The serial entrepreneur also dedicates his time to feeding the less privileged in his community. What I learned from Mikail's story is this: we can't change our past, but we can change our future by living each day better than our last. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again next time.